What's going on, everybody? Welcome to GmiasWorldPodcast, and today we're going to be talking about the epic matchup that's coming up, Jacksonville versus the Patriots. This is what I want to talk about right now. We see that Jalen Ramsey has been running off at the mouth like a savage animal, and he said some really interesting things that I don't really agree with, and I don't know if anybody that's listening to this podcast agrees with it. That Gronk is just a regular average guy, and that Gronk makes Tom Brady. There's a lot of things that Jalen Ramsey has said, and I agreed with him about, like, some quarterbacks are really trash. Like, if you go over and you evaluate a lot of the stuff that he said, a lot of the quarterbacks that he's saying sucks. They really do suck. But when you try to disrespect Gronk, that's a different thing. See, I got to draw the line. People have to understand something, right? There's a limit to trash talking, right? People that are great players in great, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the history of the sport, Gronk is one of the most accomplished tight ends to ever play the game. And he's not even, he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can do. Now, does Tom Brady influence that a lot? Absolutely. It's 100% true. Like, am I going to sit up here like an idiot and be like, oh, no, what? Tom Brady, he's arguably the greatest quarterback ever. So it's not a situation where it's like, okay, if this guy was like with Blake Bortles, he would be raw. Like, who's going to be raw with Blake Bortles? You see what I'm saying, guys? Or like a Matt Castle or something, like some weirdo guy. Like, who was the other guy? Nathan Peterman. Like, if he was with Nathan Peterman, you already know that nothing's going down. But let me just say this. That's a 6'6", fast, for the tight end position, agile, very elusive, athletic tight end. That's a guy that you cannot cover because of the position that he plays in the game. And what's going to happen this week, if we're going to talk about, the JAX versus Gronk and all that kind of stuff like that, and Jalen Ramsey versus Gronk, right? Who's going to win the matchup? Tom Brady, ultimately, like, to say who the winner of the game is going to be very tough for me. So I'm not going to go ahead and predict it. As I, talk to you guys about it right now, maybe towards the end of this podcast, I'll be able to determine who I like to win the game. But let me just explain this, right? This game is at Jacksonville, okay? So I don't know how much of an influence that's going to be with a veteran like Tom Brady, but it could amp up the defense enough to get them to the next level. Not only that, I wasn't very impressed with the way that Jalen Ramsey played last week against the Giants. You see, people don't realize something. When you're watching football, you have to analyze what they're doing on the field. A lot of people just look at the score and like, oh, this is what happened. Yeah, this score, whatever. The Giants could have won that game, but Eli Manning is a terrible quarterback. I can't say terrible. He's the luckiest quarterback. And I get into arguments all the time in bars about, who's the better, who's the best quarterback that, for the Giants. Like, would I say that Eli Manning is the best case scenario right now for the Giants? Yes. Would I have taken somebody out of the draft? Yes, I would have. I would have taken Sam Darnold. Like, listen, I understand, and I'm not knocking Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to be great in this league, but I would have taken the quarterback because we know that that position is what you need. That's what drives your team. And I think the Giants should have gone with the quarterback, but that's besides the point. I'm just trying to explain to you guys that every quarterback wouldn't have been able to, make Gronk what he is right now, and that it's a relationship between it. But also along the same lines, Jalen Ramsey's a great corner, but if Eli Manning wasn't the quarterback that day, he would have gotten torched. And that's a fact, okay? And listen, I'm not saying it for any other reason other than Jalen Ramsey has to show out this week. Because if the Patriots win this game and Gronk goes off when he ran off at the mouth, it's going to be a problem. And then it's going to seem like he's turning into something that, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was. Because I don't know if you guys remember. Let's go back a little bit to the Raiders, right? Let's, bring up the Raiders real quick. Nnamdi Asomugha, right? That dude was lock up. He was like, he was literally a lock that's walking around. You know, like how Halloween you dress up? He was walking around on the field like a lock, okay? He got traded to the Eagles. What happened? Exactly. The dude is garbage. He's trash. Because, listen, not everybody can be a Deion Sanders. Atlanta, 49ers, Cowboys. People have to understand something, right? Look, this is the thing that really aggravates me is when people start talking about corners, right? They try to make it seem as if it's a situation where you can just compare anyone to Deion Sanders. And I will say that he's Deion Sanders-like based on the athleticism, and I will use that like because he was a track star, he played other sports, whatever, but you can never be a Deion. Deion is an enigma. Deion will give up 20 yards and get back there fast enough to pick you off and run it for 6. You don't believe me? Search it. Deion Sanders is unbelievable. So not every corner can, always do what they're supposed to do. So Nnamdi being trash on the Eagles and being locked up with the Oakland Raiders, I can't knock him. Get your money. You got more than enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, more than a little, more than a love for you. Shout out to Aaliyah. But I'm going to tell you this right now, though. Understand this. Jalen Ramsey, very, very good corner last year. Okay? I don't think it's an argument that he's the number 1 corner in the league. You could argue with it. You could say, yeah, Bo, what about this guy, Casey Hayward, this guy, whatever. You could say whatever you want. Patrick Peterson. You could say whichever way you want to debate it, you can. But we can all agree that the statistics show that Ramsey's the better corner. Just look at the numbers. Okay? Now, let's talk about this now. The reason that I bring this up is because Josh Norman, when he was with the Panthers, right, he was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But that scheme was pretty, accustomed to making him that good because that front and Luke Kuechly and the intelligence of that defense, you can see that there's a difference right now in Washington. So Josh Norman, is he decent? Yeah, but he's not as good as he was previously. That's my point. He's not as good as he was at that time. So what does that mean? This is what it means. Jalen Ramsey can have a drop-off. It's not impossible that he has a drop-off. And what could happen on Sunday is that Bill Belichick, just to be, like, yo, bro, you were that good, whatever, he might be right now, as I do this podcast, generating a scheme that's going to make Jalen Ramsey's life a living hell with Gronk. Because you got to remember, Jalen Ramsey, I think what he's like, 6'1", 6'2", but Gronk is 6'6". So if he starts putting that body on him with that weight, you don't ever know what's going to happen. This is not a situation where we're talking about a little tiny dude where it's just like, you know what? Yo, bro, we're just going to send you out on a streak and whatever happens, happens. This is Gronkowski. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a guy that you could just go ahead and do whatever you want to do with, and yeah, it is what it is, and no, bro. This guy will go out there and drop 3 tubs. He will drop 3 tubs. He will be in the end zone all the time and do whatever he wants to do. So this is what I think is going to happen, right? The Patriots are very, very injury strung right now. They just signed Corey Coleman, some other bum. Whoever else is Corey Coleman and one other bum I think they got. And then Burkhead is hurt. It's a lot of things going on, right? So everybody is kind of thinking that, what's going to happen. The Jaguars defense is pretty decent. What do you think the outcome will be? Ultimately, I think the Patriots win this game. And people are going to say, yo, you're crazy, bro. Everything, yo, what is this? This is what happens, right? Tom Brady, if he's like the first half can be like, just like how the playoff game was where Jacksonville just dominates it. Maybe they come out with a whole different scheme and nobody is ready for it and we don't know which way it's going. That's a huge possibility, right? But just think about this. It's the second halves where Tom Brady is most dangerous. So what I think they do is they come out and they run the ball a little bit to see what's going on to set up the pass, right? Because Bill Belichick, he's going to change his scheme to whatever is working that day. He's going to prepare for everything, but once he sees what the Jags are doing, he's going to make sure that he utilizes what makes him the best, the best suitable way to win the game, right? Think about it like this. People blame Bill Belichick for not starting Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl. I don't think it was a vendetta or anything like that. I just think that he was willing to go with his game plan, and he's that kind of man, right? He thought that the way that it was going, the players on the field gave him the best chance to win. That's what I think personally. I agree that you could have, put him out there, see what happens, all that stuff like that. But Bill Belichick is a man of pride and a man of a lot of, a lot of collections of Super Bowls. He's a pretty accomplished coach, so you can't really debate what he does, and that's why he got away with that, because I don't think any other coach could have gotten away with that. So if he comes out there, right, and the run game for some reason is working because their O-line has been, they've been okay. They've been giving Tom a little bit of time, whatever like that, right? Because like I said, playing the Texans, keep in mind, guys, the Texans with J.J. Watt and them boys, they didn't really get to Tom. You know what I'm saying? Tom made one, bad throw, whatever. But if you look at the game in its entirety, the O-line did a decent job. And that's a really, really good defensive line out there in Houston. So when you go ahead and compare it to the Jaguars, what makes the Jaguars so good, their secondary is so, they're really, really good. They're stout. Their linebacker core is good, but their defensive ends and their D tackles, I don't think they're as strong and gritty. They're fast and they can take away the outside runs and stuff like that. But what affects Tom Brady the most is upfront pressure. And I don't think you're going to get that from the Jags. And I think that Bill Belichick knows that. It's obvious. When you look at Malik Jackson, who's it? Von Miller. They had DeMarcus Ware the year that the Broncos beat the hell out of the Patriots. You could see that pressure was coming up the middle from Malik, and then off the edge, he had no place to go. You're rushing forward, whatever like that. The one thing that I can tell you is that they're going to do a lot of chipping off the edge. They're going to do a lot of things to give Tom Brady time. The one thing that is the most dangerous thing you can do is give that man time. Because he could have Scooby-Doo out there, bro. I don't care who he has out there. Teddy Ruxpin. Yeah, I don't know why I'm thinking about that. That's a very, very old bear. But it's not a drink if you guys are too young to understand. Teddy Ruxpin was like a bear when I was he? Well, guess what? I was really, really young. I don't know why I'm thinking about him, but I'm just saying, anybody that's on the field, he go call somebody from the crowd. He could call my mom's up yo, come out here, run this route. And if she could catch the ball, Tom Brady's going to put it on her. That's the thing that is concerning to me and why I can't go against what Tom Brady is. Ultimately, I think Gronk has at least 100 yards. I'm just thinking you know what? Last week, OBJ was putting it on that boy Ramsey, and he should have caught a lot of touchdowns that Eli Manning can't throw. He was just throwing the ball at anybody else other than his team. That dude sucks. But I will tell you this. This week is going to be a determining factor on how I view Jalen Ramsey for the rest of the year, because this is a huge thing. The one thing that I believe is that if you run your mouth about anything, you got to back it up. And this is going to be his opportunity to do just that. I would love to hear what you think about this matchup between Jalen Ramsey and Gronkowski, and overall with the New England Patriots at the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Until next time, one love.